The air inside Varan border station felt heavy and cold. Humans rarely entered this place, and when they did, everyone stared at them like they were dangerous animals. Today was no different. When Mark, a simple human traveler, stepped inside, the hall became silent, almost too silent. He tried to act normal. He walked slowly, kept his hands close to his body, and avoided eye contact. But still, he could feel the sharp alien eyes following him. Some aliens whispered. Others moved away. Only one alien did not move at all. A tall warrior named Rikala stood near the center of the hall. Her armor was dark silver with glowing blue lines. Her posture was perfect, like a statue made for battle. But Mark felt something strange. She was not just watching him. She was studying him. Rikala did not blink. Her bright yellow eyes followed every step Mark took. On her lower waist, under a layer of armor, there was a strange metal bulge, round and glowing softly. Mark did not know what it was, but it made him uneasy. Other aliens kept their distance from her, as if she carried something dangerous. Mark tried to ignore her stare. But the weight of her eyes made his skin crawl. He took one more step. Rikala moved. Not slowly, she moved fast. Like a predator. In 3 long steps, she stood right in front of him, blocking his path. Her breath sounded deep and strong through her helmet. Mark froze. The entire hall went silent again. Kala looked down at him and spoke in a cold, sharp voice. Human. Why are you acting strange? Does the bulge between my legs intrigue you? Is that why you avoid my eyes? Mark's heart stopped. Every alien around them gasped. A few even stepped back. He raised his hands, confused and scared. I don't know what you're talking about, Mark stuttered. I'm not acting strange. Rikala narrowed her eyes, studying his face. It felt like she was trying to read his mind. Before Mark could explain more, a loud alarm suddenly exploded through the station. The walls flashed red. Sirens echoed everywhere. Panic spread fast. Aliens started running in different directions, shouting in their language. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Rikala reacted instantly. She grabbed Mark's wrist with her armored hand. You must come with me. Now. Mark tried to pull away, but her grip was too strong. Why? What's happening? I didn't do anything. Rikala did not answer. She pulled him through the hall with surprising speed, cutting through the crowd like a blade through water. Behind them, more alarms activated. A mechanical voice shouted something Mark could not understand. Doors began locking. Metal shields dropped from the ceiling. It felt like the entire station was preparing for a war. Rikala. Another alien soldier shouted. Why are you taking the human? He must be detained. The Corps reacted to him. Stand down. Rikala shouted back. She pushed Mark into a dark side hallway and sealed the door. The sound of heavy metal sliding shut echoed like thunder. They entered a narrow tunnel with dim lights. Rikala finally released his wrist. Mark rubbed his arm, trying to steady his breath. What Corps? Why reacted to me? I don't understand, Mark said. Rikala looked at him with a strange expression. It was not anger. It was fear. You did nothing wrong, she said slowly. But something inside this station woke up when you arrived. Mark felt a chill run down his spine. What woke up? He whispered. Rikala turned her head toward the deeper shadows of the tunnel. Something ancient, something powerful. And now? The council thinks you are the cause. Mark swallowed hard. The alarms continue to scream behind them, and they will hunt you, she said. She took a step closer, her armor glowing faintly. That is why you must stay with me, human. Because right now, I am the only one who can keep you alive. The tunnel felt colder the deeper they walked. Mark kept looking back toward the sealed door, half expecting the alien soldiers to break through and grab him. But Rakala did not slow down. Her steps were strong and precise, her glowing armor lighting the dark path. Mark finally gathered enough courage to speak. "Can you please tell me what's going on? Why did the alarm start when you looked at me?" Rakala didn't answer. She kept moving until they reached a small chamber with metallic walls and a low ceiling. Only then did she turn around. Her helmet retracted, revealing her face-sharp features, deep scars, and eyes filled with something Mark could not read. Fear, anger, or something even darker. She stared at him for a long moment before she spoke. "The device I guard. The one hidden under my armor. It reacted to you." Mark blinked. "The bulge." Rakala's jaw tensed. "It is not a body part. It is an ancient core. A sealed object my people have carried for generations. It has been silent for hundreds of years. Until you came." Mark felt his stomach twist. "That doesn't make sense. Why me? I'm just a traveler." "No," she said firmly. "You are not just anything." She stepped closer. The soft blue glow under her armor began to pulse, beating like a second heart. When you entered the hall, the core woke up. It warmed, it hummed, and it called out to you. Mark took a step back without realizing it. "Why would it call me?" Rakala lowered her voice. "Humans were never supposed to activate it. It should respond only to my kind, the Varu warriors. And yet, it chose you, a human." Mark felt a cold wave rush through him. "So everyone thinks I did something wrong." "They think you are a threat," Rakala said. "They fear what the core will do now that it has awakened." She looked down for a moment as if gathering her thoughts, something she rarely showed. Mark watched her carefully. This giant armored warrior was nervous. "Rakala," he said softly. "Why are you helping me? Shouldn't you hand me over?" She raised her head sharply. "No, I cannot do that." "Why?" Mark asked. Her fingers brushed the glowing bulge beneath her armor, as if she wanted to shield it from the world. "Because the legends said this day would come," she whispered. "The day the core would choose someone. Someone not of our kind." Mark frowned. "Legends? What legends?" Rakala stepped toward the wall and pressed her palm against a hidden panel. A hologram flickered to life, showing old symbols and drawings. Humans, Varu warriors, and a floating orb that looked just like the core. A long time ago, before the Varu ruled this region, there was another race, she said. Ancient beings who created powerful artifacts. They vanished, but their creations remained. Mark stared at the hologram, and the core is one of those creations. "Yes," Rakala said. "A key, a weapon, a protector. No one truly knows what it is. But we guard it because our ancestors believed it would one day be needed." She pointed at the hologram. "And that day is today." Mark felt his breath catch. "So I'm the one who activated it." Rakala nodded. "The moment you walked into the hall, before Mark could respond, the floor suddenly vibrated. A heavy thud echoed from above. Then another, and another. Rakala's eyes widened. "They found us." Mark's heart pounded. "Who?" "The Council's hunters," she said. "They want the core and they want you." The lights in the chamber flickered. Dust fell from the ceiling. Rakala grabbed Mark's arm again. "We cannot stay here. There is something I must show you before they arrive." She opened a hidden door in the floor, leading to a deeper tunnel. Mark hesitated. "What is down there?" She looked at him with a serious, almost gentle expression. "The truth," she said. "The truth about why the core chose you." And before he could decide, she pulled him into the darkness below. The hidden tunnel beneath the chamber was narrow and silent. The air felt old, untouched for many years. Mark followed Rykala carefully, his heart racing with every step. Above them, loud thuds and metal crashes echoed through the walls the hunters were searching. Breaking doors, moving closer. Rykala kept her hand on the wall as they walked, feeling the old stone and metal with a strange respect. "This place is older than the station," she whispered, "older than my people. We are walking inside the bones of an ancient world." Mark tried to calm himself, but fear kept pressing on his chest. "Why do they want me? I still don't understand." "They do not want you," Rykala said. "They want the core. And you are the only one who can wake it fully." Mark touched his chest, still confused. "But why would an ancient device react to a human? Your people built this station, not mine." Rykala stopped walking. She turned around slowly, her armor glowing faintly in the dark. "My people did not build this structure," she said. "The ancient race did." She pointed to the tunnel walls where old symbols were carved spirals, circles, and shapes that looked like stars. "And these symbols," she added, "are not Varu symbols. They match human-style writing from old records." Mark's eyes widened. "Are you saying humans were here long before your people?" Rykala nodded once. "The ancient race mixed with many species. Some say humans were part of their world. Some say humans were their allies. Others say humans were their protectors." Mark shook his head. "That's impossible. Humans barely know life outside their galaxy." "Your people forgot," she said softly, but the core did not. Before Mark could ask more, a loud metallic roar echoed through the tunnel. The ground shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Rykala grabbed Mark and pushed him against the wall. "They are close," she hissed. Mark felt his body tighten. Heavy footsteps approached from behind, echoing down the long tunnel. The footsteps were slow, cold, and strong. The hunters had entered the ancient passage. Rykala tightened her grip on her spear. "When they arrive, stay behind me. Do not run." Mark swallowed hard. "Can you defeat them?" She did not answer. Instead, she touched the glowing bulge under her armor. The core pulsed softly, like a heart trying to wake up. "It reacts to danger," she whispered. "To your fear. To your presence." The footsteps grew louder. Shadows appeared, head-tall, armored figures with glowing red visors. The hunters had arrived. Their leader, a massive alien named Torvax, stepped forward. His armor was thick and black, covered in red markings. He carried a long energy spear. Rykala Torvax growled, "You are betraying the council. Hand over the human." Rykala stood firm, her eyes glowing with fierce determination. "The council misjudged him. He is not a threat. The core chose him." Torvax raised his spear. "The core is dangerous, and anything connected to it must be eliminated." Mark felt chills shoot through his spine. Torvax pointed the spear at him. "You human, step forward." Mark froze. Rykala moved first. She raised her hand, and the core pulsed brighter. A wave of soft blue energy spread across the tunnel floor. Torvax's eyes widened. "The core is active." Rykala's voice dropped low. "It is protecting him," Torvax growled. "Then take it from her." The hunters charged. Rykala pushed Mark behind a stone pillar. "Stay hidden." Then she leaped into battle. Her movements were fast, sharper than anything Mark had ever seen. Sparks exploded as her spear clashed with Torvax's weapon. Blue energy from the core surged through her armor, giving her strength and speed. But the hunters were many. Mark watched with fear as she fought three at once. Blades scraped her armor. Energy blasts exploded near her feet. She held them off, but only barely. Suddenly, one hunter broke past her defenses and ran toward Mark. Mark stepped back, panicking. The hunter raised his weapon, but before he could strike, the core under Rakala's armor flashed bright blue. A blast of light shot through the tunnel, hitting the hunter and sending him flying. Mark gasped. Rakala stumbled from the energy drain, but she kept standing. "Move!" she shouted. "We must escape, now." Mark rushed to her side and grabbed her arm to support her, and together they ran deeper into the ancient darkness, with the hunters close behind. The deeper Mark and Rakala ran, the older the tunnel became. The walls slowly changed from metal to stone, then from stone to something that looked almost alive, smooth, warm, and faintly glowing. Strange symbols lit up under their footsteps as if welcoming them. Mark felt his fear mixing with curiosity. "What is this place?" Rakala did not answer right away. Her breathing was heavy, and she touched her side where a hunter's blade had scraped her armor. Even damaged, she kept moving. "This is ancient ground," she finally whispered. "A place no Varu has entered for hundreds of years." Mark slowed down slightly, unsure if he should continue. "Are you hurt?" Rakala stopped and leaned against the wall. "I will heal, but we cannot remain in the open tunnel." She pointed at a large circular doorway ahead. The door had no handle, no lock, just a single hand-shaped mark in the center. Mark stared. "Is that supposed to open?" "Only if the one chosen touches it," Rakala said, looking at him. Mark felt a cold knot form in his stomach. "You mean me?" She nodded. "The core reacted to you. The door will too." Mark stepped forward slowly. His hand trembled a little. He pressed his palm into the glowing handprint. The entire doorway lit up like sunrise. A shockwave of light blasted outward, not painful, but warm and powerful. The door slid open silently, revealing a chamber filled with floating lights and ancient metal structures. Rakala stared in awe. "No one alive has seen this." Mark's hand tingled. The lights of the chamber began swirling around him, forming shapes, lines, and symbols. Rakala walked closer, her voice low. "The chamber recognizes you." Mark looked down at his hand. The strange tingling was spreading up his arm. "Rakala, something is happening to me." She approached him, but before she could touch him, the bulge under her armor, the core began to glow brighter than ever. The glow was no longer soft. It was strong, pulsing like a heartbeat. Rakala gasped. "It is fully awake." Suddenly, the core released a beam of blue light that shot straight into Mark's hand. His body stiffened. His vision blurred. The chamber symbols moved faster, swirling around him like a storm. Rakala reached forward. "Mark, stay conscious." Mark felt energy rush through his chest, into his mind, and down his legs. It felt like electricity, but also like memories that were not his. He saw flashes of tall alien structures, giant machines, planets he had never seen, and beings with glowing eyes. His knees weakened, and he almost fell. But Rakala caught him before he hit the floor. "Breathe, human," she said, supporting him. "Let the core do what it must." Mark gasped for air. "What? What is it doing?" Rakala looked at the core, now glowing a deep, powerful blue. "It is bonding with you, accepting you, and unlocking its full power." Mark tried to stand on his own. His vision slowly cleared. Around him, the floating lights formed a an enormous map projecting a path leading far outside the station. The final point on the map pulsed bright white. Rakala stared. The ancient temple. Mark turned toward her. "Temple? You mean that's where this path leads?" "Yes," she said. "The temple built by the ancient race. The core wants you to go there." Mark's voice shook. "Why me? What does it want?" Before Rakala could answer, a loud crash echoed behind them. The hunters had reached the chamber entrance. Their shadows spread across the floor. Torvax stepped forward, breathing heavily. Enough running? The core belongs to the Council. Mark stepped back instinctively, but Rikala moved in front of him, blocking Torvax's path. No, she said firmly. The core has chosen him. The temple awaits. Torvax raised his weapon. Then both of you will die with it. The hunters charged into the chamber. Rikala's armor flared with blue energy. Mark stood behind her, terrified but strangely stronger than before. The chamber lights brightened. Reacting to Mark's presence, the ancient temple was calling, and if they didn't escape now, they would never reach it. The ancient chamber shook as the hunters charged inside. Rikala blocked their path, her armor glowing bright blue with the core's power. But even with her strength, she could not fight an entire squad forever. Mark. She shouted, "Follow the map. The temple is our only chance." Mark hesitated, watching her fight alone, but she yelled again, her voice full of authority and urgency. "Go!" Now, Mark forced himself to run through the back exit of the chamber. Rikala fought fiercely until she saw him disappear. Then she pushed back the last hunter with a shockwave and followed quickly. The door behind them sealed shut, cutting off the hunters at least for now. They entered a long tunnel that led upward. The air changed from warm to cold, from clean to dusty. When they finally reached the end of the tunnel, a huge metal hatch opened, and the outside world revealed itself. Mark froze. Before him stretched a giant wasteland-less brown ground, broken rock and dry wind. The sky was pale yellow with faint swirling clouds. Everything looked dead, abandoned long ago. "This is the outer wastes," Rikala said. "No one comes here anymore." Mark took a step outside. Why would the temple be in a place like this? Rikala followed him, her boots sinking slightly into the dusty ground, because no one was meant to find it. The ancient race hid their greatest secrets in the places where life could not survive. Mark looked at the glowing projection map floating above his hand. The path pointed straight across the wasteland. "Is it safe?" He asked. Rikala's voice was calm but honest. "No, but safety no longer exists for us." They began walking. The wind blew strong, carrying sharp grains of dust that stung Mark's skin. Rikala walked ahead of him, scanning the horizon with her warrior senses. She seemed less wounded now. The core's energy was slowly healing her. Mark asked quietly, "Does the core help you too?" Rikala nodded without turning back. "It gives strength when danger is near. It watches. It protects." She paused, then added, "But today, it protects you more than me." Mark looked at the glowing map again. "I still don't understand. Why me?" Rikala slowed, then stopped walking. She looked at him seriously, her eyes softening for the first time. "Because humans have something the ancient race valued more than strength," she said. "What is that?" Mark asked. "Courage," she replied. "Even when afraid, you move forward. Even when weak, you stand again." The ancient race believed only a heart like that could unlock their greatest creation. Mark didn't know what to say. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't brave. He was just him. But the core didn't think so. They continued walking for hours. The ground became rougher, turning into cracked stone. Strange metal pieces stuck out from the earth-hold ruins, buried by time. Whenever Mark stepped near one, the core pulsed through Rikala's armor. Reacting to his presence, it senses the past, she explained. These ruins belonged to the ancient race. As they walked deeper, Mark began to notice something strange. Every time he tripped, the ground softened for a moment, as if protecting him. When he felt tired, a faint energy warmed his legs. "The core is helping me," Mark whispered. "Yes," Rikala said. "It grows stronger the nearer we get. But their brief calm did not last. A loud howl echoed across the wasteland. Rykala spun around, raising her spear. From the far cliffs, shapes began to move large, fast, and aggressive. Mark's heart raced. "What are those?" "Sand beasts," Rykala said. "Hungry ones." The beasts approached, growling, their bodies covered in rough plates and glowing eyes. They circled Mark and Rykala, closing in. Mark gripped his hands tightly. "Rykala, what do we do?" Rykala placed herself between Mark and the beasts. "We fight only if we must. But remember, the temple is close. We must keep moving." The beasts roared. Mark felt the core pulse through the air like a heartbeat. The wasteland was no longer empty. Danger followed them from every direction, and the temple waited ahead, pulsing with a mysterious light only Mark could see. The sand beasts circled slowly, their bodies low to the ground, their glowing eyes fixed on Mark. Each creature was huge, covered in thick armor-like plates and long teeth meant for tearing metal. Mark felt his legs shake. He had never seen anything like them. Rykala stepped in front of him, her spear ready. "Mark, stay behind me. Do not move." The beasts growled louder, kicking sand into the air. The wind blew dust across the wasteland, making everything look blurry and dangerous. Mark whispered, "Can we outrun them?" "No," Rykala said, "but we can survive them." The first beast charged. Rykala pushed Mark aside and swung her spear. The blade hit the beast's head with a loud crack. The creature rolled, but another took its place immediately. Mark stumbled back. "Rykala, there are too many." "I know," she said, her voice steady. "But the core is with us." As if reacting to her words, the glowing bulge under her armor pulsed brightly. Light spread across her armor like flowing water. Her movements became sharper, faster. She leaped into the air and slammed her spear down, releasing a burst of blue energy. Sand exploded everywhere, knocking two beasts away. But the remaining beasts grew angrier. They surrounded her from all sides. Rykala fought bravely, but Mark could see she was getting tired. Her breathing became heavy, and her armor flickered weakly. One beast jumped at her from behind. "Rykala, look out!" Mark shouted. The creature slammed into her, knocking her to the ground. She dropped her spear and rolled away, but another beast cut her shoulder with its claws. Her armor sparked. She groaned in pain. Something inside Mark snapped. He ran forward without thinking. "No." "Mark, stop." Rykala cried, but he didn't stop. He couldn't. A beast lunged at him with teeth wide open. Mark raised his arms to protect himself. The core answered. A bright flash burst from Rykala's armor, shooting across the ground like lightning and hitting Mark. Instead of hurting him, the energy wrapped around his arms like glowing ribbons. Mark felt a strange power inside him warm. Strong, ancient, his hands began to glow blue. The beast attacked. Mark raised his glowing hand. A shockwave exploded outward, sending the beast flying across the sand. Rykala stared in disbelief. "The core is merging with you." I don't know what's happening," Mark said, trembling. Another beast charged at him. Mark's body reacted on its own. His arms moved faster than human speed. A wave of blue energy shot forward, striking the beast and knocking it unconscious. Rykala stood up slowly. "The core is giving you its strength." Mark looked at her, breathing hard. "Why? Why now?" "Because I was failing," she whispered. "Because it protects the chosen one." More beasts approached, forming a wall around them. Mark and Rykala stood back to dash back. She handed him her spear. "Hold it. The core will guide you." Mark grabbed the spear with both hands. The weapon glowed the moment he touched it. A surge of energy traveled into his arms. The beasts roared and charged. Mark and Kala moved together not as warrior and human, but as one team connected by the core's power. Mark struck with surprising strength, blasting beasts away with waves of light. Rakala fought beside him, her armor brighter than ever. Little by little, the beasts began to retreat. Their roars faded into the distance. One last beast looked back, growled, and ran into the desert. Silence filled the wasteland. Mark dropped the spear, breathing hard. His arms still glowed faintly. Rakala walked toward him, weak but standing. "Mark, you saved us." Mark shook his head. "No, we saved each other." She placed a hand on his shoulder. "The temple is close, and the core trusts you fully now." Mark looked ahead at the distant glowing point on the horizon. A final path. A final truth. "We finish this," he said softly. And together, they moved toward the ancient temple, ready for whatever waited inside. The wasteland slowly changed as Mark and Rakala walked closer to the glowing point on the horizon. The cracked ground turned into smooth stone. The air, once dry and harsh, began to feel strangely calm. The sky above them grew darker, but not in a scary way. It felt like the world was holding its breath at last. They reached a wide, flat platform made of old white stone. In the middle stood a tall structure like a pyramid, but smoother, with no doors, no windows only. A single round mark glowing at its center, like an eye. Mark stared up at it. "Is this the temple?" Rakala nodded slowly. "Yes, the temple of the first light, the oldest place on this world." The core under her armor pulsed strongly now, matching the light on the temple's surface. Mark felt his own chest respond, as if his heart and the core beat together. Rakala turned to him. "This is where the path ends, and where your real choice begins." Mark swallowed. "What do I have to do?" She pointed at the glowing circle on the temple. "The core wants to join with this place, but it needs you to complete the link." Mark walked toward the temple slowly. Each step made the ground glow blue. When he reached the glowing circle, his hand rose without him forcing it. The energy inside him seemed to guide his movements. He pressed his palm against the circle. The world went silent. Then everything changed. The temple flashed with bright light. The ground trembled softly, not like an attack, but like something waking up from a long sleep. The air filled with shining symbols spinning around Mark and Rakala. Rakala stepped closer, but did not touch him. The core under her armor detached from her body, floating into the air like a small sun. It hovered between Mark and the temple, humming. Mark's eyes widened. "Rakala, are you okay?" She smiled weakly. "It is leaving me. But that is what it was always meant to do." The floating core split into two streams of light. One flowed into the temple wall. The other flowed into Mark's chest. Memories of Maj's voices rushed into his mind. He saw humans standing beside many alien races. He saw old wars, old peace treaties, and a great oath. Humans would protect life when others failed. Rakala watched him carefully. "What do you see?" Mark spoke slowly, his voice almost distant. "I see the ancient race. They chose humans to carry their last hope. The core was made to find a human who still has that courage. A human who would choose to protect, not rule." The temple opened. A doorway formed in the wall, and soft white light spilled out. Mark and Rakala stepped inside. The inner chamber was simple. No throne, no weapons. Only a raised platform in the center, and above it, a giant crystal filled with swirling stars. The crystal pulsed as Mark approached. A gentle voice, not male, not female, more like many voices in one spoke inside his mind. "You were afraid. Yet you still moved. You were weak. Yet you still fought. You protected one who was not your kind. Human, will you take the burden we left behind? Mark stood very still. He thought of the beasts, the hunters, the fear, the pain. He thought of Rakala standing in front of him every time danger came near. He looked at her. What happens if I say yes? He asked softly. Rakala met his eyes. The core will connect you to many worlds. You will carry its power. You will not rule, but you will be called when there is danger. You will be a guardian. And if I say no? He asked. Then the core will sleep again, she said. The galaxy will go on without it. Without you? Silence filled the chamber. Mark took a long breath. I'm just one person, he said. I'm not special. Rakala shook her head gently. You are special because you think that Tan still helped me. That is what makes humans dangerous and beautiful. Mark smiled a little. He stepped onto the platform and placed his hand on the crystal. I don't know if I'm ready, he said. But if someone has to try, I will. Light exploded around him. The core's full power poured into his body, his mind, and his heart. The pain was sharp for a moment, then warm, then calm. The temple shook, then settled. Outside, the sky cleared, showing stars brighter than before. When the light faded, Mark was still standing. A soft glow remained in his eyes and along his skin. Like starlight beneath the surface, Rayala walked up to him slowly. You did it, she whispered. Mark smiled. No, we did it. The temple spoke one last time, like a distant promise. Human and Varu, two hearts, one duty. Protect life. Stand together. Rakala bowed her head, then reached out her arm. As long as I live, I will stand by your side, Guardian. Mark took her arm firmly. Then we start with your world, he said. No more fear. No more secret power controlled by councils. We use it to protect, not to scare. They stepped out of the temple together. Above them, the stars seemed to move, as if watching. A human chosen by an ancient race. An alien warrior bound by honor. And a new story for the galaxy humanity once doubted, now trusted again.